Thank you, Mr. Beeler. Senator Reid and I feel that a 5-minute round is appropriate, and I don't think I recall seeing 5 people coming to the table who are more qualified, and particularly with the military background that many of you enjoy. I will have questions for the record for all 5, but I have 3 questions for 3 of you, starting with you, Mr. Schaefer. When I'm out on the stump and I'm talking to people, there's an assumption that the United States has the best of everything. We've gone through the last 10 years of underfunding the defense, and we're paying for it now. I think the National Defense Strategy highlights the great power competition. That's China and Russia in areas such as artillery, hypersonics, nuclear modernization. That's triad. Those countries have actually passed us up. So, Mr. Schaefer, I recall our chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff not long ago said that we have lost our qualitative and quantitative advantages. So, Mr. Schaefer, you're kind of an expert in this area. What are you going to be doing to try to regain the superior position that we have lost?
Thank you, Senator. I will start by saying that I very much agree with the chairman and with the assessment that we have seen our strategic advantage eroded. I think it's an imperative that we do everything we can. We use all of the various tools that the Congress has given us over the last couple of years to accelerate fielding of capabilities. And most notably, even though we've had a restructure of what used to be the Undersecretary for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics, we have to continue to prototype, bring about new capabilities very quickly, and then figure out how to put those into an acquisition train where you can field a number of them. We simply have to use every tool you've given us, and I think we have to work on the workforce. Acquisition is not something that someone can walk in off the street and do well. Yeah. We've got to really focus on giving every bit of training to our young program managers and empower them to make a mistake, not a big mistake, but empower them to do everything they can to get capability to the field. That's what I plan to do if confirmed, sir.
Very, very good, Mr. Schaefer. Dr. Wodinsky, you're particularly qualified to answer this question. In our defense authorization bill, we dramatically increased the end strength, particularly in the Army, some 4,000. And yet, when we look at this, we know with the threats that are out there, that's just a beginning. We're going to be continuing to go out and recruit and retain. Now, how do you propose to do this without lowering standards? How optimistic are you that you can accomplish this?
Senator, thank you. If confirmed, I think with regard to recruiting, it's really a multi-fold effort. The Army's been very focused, as you know, for many, many years on recruiting directly out of high school, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. The economy's evolved a great bit, and more kids today are going straight into college. And they see college as among their first best choice. They may not see the Army in that domain. So as part of putting the Army in that domain, I think we have to market the Army effectively before they get to 17. We have to put the Army in the set of things young adults are thinking about when they're thinking about them, which begins actually much earlier. To do that, I think we have to use new technologies, new approaches that meet these young adults in an environment in which is relevant to them. Having done that and laid their foundation for subsequent recruiting efforts, I think we need to pay attention to the fact that a great number of young adults are now going into college, but they're not completing, either for financial reasons or for improper fit or for other circumstances. There's about 400,000 that leave junior colleges each year without completing, and about 400,000 leave college. That's a market the Army could approach, and the approach to that market could be very beneficial both to the United States, the Army, and those young adults.
That's good.
And so that would be the start.
I think you've thought that out. And the last question I would have be for Ms. Daigle. We dodged a bullet at the end of a couple of years ago with the budget control and the levels that we were operating in. And, you know, we have to remind people that that is the aggressive attitude in what we've done with the military. That's something that ends at the end of fiscal year 19, because that doesn't apply to fiscal years 20 and thereafter. So I would just like to have you get on record saying how devastating would it be if we were to return to the sequestration for the department, and how bad would that be? We're going to have to start talking about it now.
Yes, I agree, Senator, and I agree. It would be extremely harmful, especially for readiness, which is funded out of the O&M accounts. And if you were to cut funding from the levels where we would be in 19 down to where the BCA would take us, my concern, if confirmed as the ASD for readiness, is that it would come out of readiness accounts, the O&M accounts. And so I would bring all of my experience in budget and programming to bear.
Good. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. Senator Reed.